Are you paying for a subscription for Google Photos or Apple Photos? And are you starting to run out of storage and worried that you're going to have to start paying more money every month to have more photos? What if I told you that there's a free and open source solution to this problem? Essentially hosting your own software on your own network that is just as good, if not better, than Google Photos. That program is called Immich. It is super cool. Today I'm going to show you how to install it on your home server. Let's get started. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm at the home page of Immich, immich.app. And right off the bat, we have some screenshots of the application. We can actually go right into the demo portal if we want to test it out. Like I said before, it is very similar to Google Photos. You can quickly do searches for names or even objects that are in the photos. Before I searched dinosaur and there happened to be some dinosaur photos in here. You can hit search and the application will do facial recognition just like Google Photos, and you can name the faces, making it very easy. So I just want to give a quick demonstration of the app, but really this video is to get it installed. All right, so we're going to jump into the quick start and head over to the requirements section. Now it says that we need to have Docker and Docker Compose. The coolest thing about this application is that it's a full stack application with the database and a web front end, and it's all in a Docker container. You just download the Docker container and you run it. So let's hop into that Docker installation instructions. We are going to be installing for Linux, assuming that you have a Linux operating system running on your server or whatever you're using as a home server. I have Ubuntu on mine, so this is what I did, and I installed Docker Desktop on my server, but I think for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to simulate a home server with a AWS Lightsail instance. So we'll just spin that up real quick and get Docker installed on it and pretend like that is our home server. So let's jump into AWS Lightsail. I'm just gonna spin up a new server. Again, this is just to simulate a fresh home server. I already have mine set up, so I don't need to reset it. Let's go ahead and give us as much memory as possible for this free 3 months server. And then I'll just call it Ubuntu 1, that's fine. Spin up the instance. And it will just take about a minute for it to begin. So let's just give it a second. Okay, and our home server is up and running. We just have it on a free Amazon Lightsail instance at the moment. And then let's just go ahead and open up a SSH terminal. And this is where we are going to write our installation commands for Docker. So let's get that set up. And what I've noticed with this AWS SSH client is just really does not do copy paste very well. For some reason, I always end up having some problems with this. So what I'm gonna do is just paste this first command into a text editor. I'm going to get rid of all these spaces and even these multi-line commands. Okay, so we're going to run this apt get update command. Let's go ahead and paste that in here. Go ahead and copy this one while we're waiting. Let's paste the next command in. Go ahead and copy the next line. Paste, copy, paste. Copy, paste. Copy and paste, and then run the apt get update again. Okay, so now we're good to install our Docker Community Edition and our Docker Compose. Let's paste that in there. Yes. All right, and then we can test to see if Docker was installed by running this hello world Docker container. And there we go, hello from Docker. Okay, so we have Docker and Docker Compose installed. Let's hop back over to the Immich installation. So we have the requirements done. We're going to follow the Docker commands here. So we're going to create a Immich-app directory. Let's copy that, paste, and then we're going to cd into that. And then we are going to copy this YAML file, or download it, I should say, which is the Docker Compose file. And then we're also going to download the environmental variables file. And we'll also download this hardware acceleration configuration file. We don't necessarily need to use it, but we'll just go ahead and download that. So now it says, step 2, populate the environmental variables file with custom values. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do sudo nano.env, and we can see the library upload location where images will be stored, the image version to use, and then a database password. So this is the one value you really need to change. Go ahead and change this to something else. I will just keep it as Postgres for the purpose of this tutorial. So we'll keep it as is, although you should change it on your own server. And then these values do not need to be changed. So let's go ahead and write that out and exit out. Let's get that up and running, and we're just going to wait for all those containers to finish downloading, and this might take some time. Okay, so the app looks like it's up and running now, so let's see if we can get started connecting to it. Okay, let's check the status for firewall. Sudo ufw status, it's currently inactive. Let's make sure that we have our SSH port enabled. So ufw app list, we can see open SSH w, and then we want to allow it in SSH. Okay, we already had an existing rule for that to be allowed. Reload. Let's go ahead and reload it. Oh, it's not even enabled. Okay, sudo ufw enable, and yes, firewall is active and enabled on startup. W status. Okay, so we have open SSH enabled. That's good, so that we can still connect to our server. Immich is running on port 2283, so let's go ahead and allow that. Sudo ufw allow 2283, and let's just look at the status again to see that we have that port open. And then we just want to make sure that we have it open on our Lightsail instance as well. So let's click on our Lightsail instance and go to the networking tab. And then let's open up that same port 2283. We'll call it 2283, and let's create that rule. We've got port 2283. Let's just see if we can connect to our service now. Throw this in 3. And here we go. We're on our server. Welcome to the Immich web app. The only thing that you would need to do to get to production is set up your DNS provider, set up your routing, if you're hosting on a home server, you gotta make sure that you have a DDNS, and those instructions will all be documented in my documentation. You can find a link below the video. Otherwise, I hope this helped you get Immich set up. You're now ready to start uploading photos and being able to do everything that you could do with Google Photos, but for free, and have as much storage as you like. So that's it. If you have any questions or you feel like you need some follow-up instructions on getting Immich set up, just let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to make another video. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and install Nginx. We're gonna do sudo apt update, and let's do sudo apt install Nginx. And let's start it up. Sudo systemctl start Nginx. And let's make sure we enable it. ctl enable Nginx. And then let's check the status. Okay, Nginx is running. We have our reverse proxy running, which is great. Okay, so let's configure a domain to route in our Nginx reverse proxy. So let's head over to our Nginx sites available directory, connects. And here, let's decide what we want our domain to be. Let's call it immich.thomaswillietech.com. Okay, let's put in a server block here. I'm going to paste this in. Code will be in the link below. But let's just step through the server block real quick. So we're listening to web request, HTTP web request. Our server name is going to be immich.thomaswillietech.com, and basically we are going to route that to our localhost port 2283 that Immich is listening on, and that is good. Okay, so let's write that, and then now let's enable it. So sudo, we're gonna put in a link from our available pages to our enabled pages. Nginx sites available immich.thomaswillietech.com/etc. And let me expand this a little bit. We're going to link that to our sites enabled directory. And then let's make sure, let's test our Nginx configuration. It looks good, okay. Let's go ahead and turn off the firewall port. So we're gonna do, you have sudo ufw status, and let's disallow or remove 2283. Okay, so let's go ahead and deny that port 2283. We don't want to expose it anymore. So ufw deny 2283. And let's check the status. Okay, and we are also going to, let's go ahead and delete this. Hop back over. And we should no longer be able to open the page. That is great. Let's get our SSL certificates. So before we can set up certbot for HTTPS, we need to start forwarding traffic from our domain to our server. So let's hop into our AWS console or wherever your domain name service is. And we'll go ahead and sign into my console. I'm going to go to Route 53, hosted zones, and you see I've got Thomas Wilde Tech right here.
Your love is what I need.
Let's hop in here and let's create a new record. And I believe we called it Immich. And then we are just going to route this to another IP address. Now, if you are routing it to your home server, you are going to get your DDNS URL from your DDNS provider. If you don't already have that, please see my link for setting up a DDNS. You would then just put in your URL here that would, dynamically update the IP address of your home address. Luckily for us, since we're doing light sail, we can just assign a static IP address to our server. So let's just go ahead and assign that static IP. And we have a static IP. Okay, so this is where we're going to want to route traffic to. And okay, good to go. Create the record. So that should only take 60 seconds to take effect. Let's go ahead and start setting up certbot over here. Now again, certbot, we're installing certbot so that we can get free SSL certificates. That way our domain is always going to say HTTPS, indicating that it is a secure connection to your server. Okay, so let's install certbot. Sudo apt install certbot python 3 certbot nginx. Okay, let's install our certificates. So we're going to do sudo certbot nginx to the domain of image.thomaswildetech.com. And as long as that routing has already taken effect, we should be good. Okay, it said that it failed. Let's see why that might be. Okay, so the problem might be our firewall. Let me check. UFW sudo UFW status. We do need to make sure that we have our HTTP and HTTPS ports open. That might be the problem. Allow AD, I should say, and allow 443. Let's see if that was the problem. Okay, and it says successfully deployed certificate. HTTPS, here is the domain name that is going to go to our image address. Copy. And does not seem to be working. Okay. Maybe the problem is that we do not have HTTPS enabled. Let's check that out. HTTP, HTTPS. Let's see if that has taken effect. And here we go. We have our custom URL. going directly to our server. So if we had set up that routing to our home IP address or the DDNS that is pointing to our home IP address, we'd be running this right out of our home server.